So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this another exciting segment of weekly travel updates with Tanvi Goel. Well, thank you all for the love and affection given to the last 59 episodes. This is our 60th episode. And once again, with the 60th episode, welcome to the show, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, Umesh. And he rightly said, thank you for all the affections, everyone, and sending us so many feedbacks and questions as well. This week also we got some questions, and we are happy to add those. Thank you to Anuj, Yukesh, Vipul and Priyanka for sending questions last week and asking that you want to have some snapshot of border in domestic as well as internationally. So definitely going to cover that. So a little bit more exciting than usually, guys. So before we go ahead, just a little disclaimer that any discussion we have today is still information only. As you know, there are so many things changing, good or bad as well. So, and individual cases may change anytime as well. So please keep yourself updated.
And of course, individual cases will differ. So what we discuss here and the information shared is of general nature as well. Your specific case might be different. Please do check all your regulations as they do change on a daily basis, even though border announcements are made. But should something happen, they can always change, and they can change very quickly. So, you need to check and find out everything before you make that decision. So, anyway, exciting news. And I think that's a very good point on covering those aspects from those questions that have been asked. And moving on, let's get some updates from Australia.
So yes, so many exciting things, guys, especially those who are in Queensland. I know you guys were waiting for borders to reopen, and happily it's opening for at least domestic travels earlier, like 4 years early. So Queensland will reopen its domestic borders to travel from 13th December 1 a.m. onwards, 4 days earlier than originally anticipated. So date was brought forward as the state predicts reaching 80% vaccination sooner, with the travelers needed to be fully zapped and provide a negative COVID test in the previous 72 hours before they enter. So that's fantastic news, guys. So at least, this domestic one open, and hopefully very soon, next few weeks or within a month, we're expecting that international borders in Queensland also should open. So let's do the right thing and get vaccinated if we have not done so far. Going ahead with some more states, because many of you asked to know what's happening in other states. So New South Wales and Victoria are open, but they have got 3 days isolation required if you were coming internationally from anywhere internationally to New South Wales or Victoria. Then border controls from Western Australia and South Australia have been tightened by Western Australian government, and South Australia risk rating to Western Australia has been elevated as well from low risk to the medium category, seeing a little bit harder than it was before. So I would say if you guys are there internationally or thinking to go state-wise as well in Western Australia, South Australia, it's better to just hold on for some time because borders are a little bit strict over there. And also they mentioned that South Australia, so travel from South Australia is basically not permitted, and approval travelers are subject to strict requirements such as double dose of vaccination, negative test, PCR report, and also self-quarantine 14 days before further testing is undertaken. So however, the Western Australia citizen who have recently traveled to South Australia is eligible to return under compassionate grounds, but still it's really very strict. So if you guys are in Western Australia and South Australia, I would say reconsider your travel state-wise or internationally, because it is a little bit hard. Next is from Queensland as well. So our Premier has revealed that she will take a plan to the next level in National Cabinet meeting to request Australia require international travellers to take a COVID-19 test on arrival at the airport across the nation. So Premier's suggestion would be in addition to the current requirements that passenger needs to be fully vaccinated, have a negative PCR before the return to Australia. But we might have some new thing coming up that you have to do a COVID test when you reach Australia. So she's going to take that forward. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about the flights now. So whether you guys are uniting with your family and friends over the Christmas or looking forward to the holidays getaway, there are so many options, and airlines are committed to give you guys new flights that makes Queensland the place to be, the best place for this summer. So guys, this time there are so many new flights are coming up for Queensland specifically. So let's start with Virgin Australia. So Virgin Australia is gearing up to launch 3 new flights, new Gold Coast routes this month. The trio of new services will kick off actually from yesterday already, and there with the introduction of flights, direct flight from Launceston to Gold Coast. Route will be there for 3 times a week, with the daily Gold Coast to Cairns flights are also there, which is starting from tomorrow. And from 13th of December, Virgin Australia will fly directly from Hobart to Gold Coast. That will be 4 times a week, offering around 5,600 seats a month, which is really going to be exciting. They have also signed an exclusive agreement with the Link Airways to reboot their services between Sydney and Canberra. That's going to start from 30th of January 2022, operating around 553 times a week and up to 9 flights per day on the weekdays as well. So route will be using the Link Airways sub 340 B aircraft and crew, and replacing the Virgin Australia 373-800 aircraft, and welcoming back also the Canberra lounge as well, which will now boost a revamped venue and also got so many nice amazing selection of Australian wines and craft beer options. So I think it's really going to be exciting. Queensland is welcoming you. At the same time, airlines were waiting so long, and really good to see that so many amazing options, especially for Gold Coast. It's going to be exciting. Not only that, Jetstar or Qantas, like we mentioned last few episodes, they have also got some amazing flights non-stop, and fares are quite exciting as well. So if you guys are thinking, though, I would say still just sit back and think whether you want to come here and how you want to really plan your journey. But seems Queensland is good to go, and you guys are good to make holidays, especially in Queensland, Victoria and New South Wales. Qantas also announced a plan to expand their fleet to keep pace with the rising online shopping demand, fueled by the home ordering during the pandemic. So I know many of us were stuck home before, and even I think we kind of get used to it, doing online shoppings, and everyone really wants to shop now, and you get the delivery faster. So it's really great plan by Qantas. I would say that they are expanding their online shopping experience so we can get it faster. So airlines will convert basically their 2 Airbus 330 aircraft, which will be, one of them will be used by Australia Post to deliver parcels, while a second one will serve it online, serve it the international network, sorry. So people are now used to, like I said, to all the shopping. So that's really fantastic. And Australia Post will also carry around 50 tons of cargo each flight, more than double the capacity of other freighters operating for the National Postal Service. And this capacity or this flight is expected to be ready by 2023. So a bit of wait at the moment, but definitely really great idea. And other airlines as well, as I said, got really exciting offers if you guys need to fly domestically from HT.
That is wonderful to see that all those flights would be happening. Well, I mean, right now, let's go through and get some updates of flights, updates from Australia to India flights. So maybe if we can start off generally, and then we'll look at Brisbane.
100%. So guys, like Umesh mentioned, and I know many of you really like to know the snapshot at exactly what's happening, what flights are going from which city in Australia, and quite excitingly, many flights are going, though there are some of those hampered in between because of the new virus, but seems like new virus is a little bit low and not affecting flights that much. So to give you a bit of a snapshot first, so Emirates and Qatar is going from all major cities in Australia to all major cities in India. Then you have Qatar as well doing the same thing. They pretty much got one-stop flights from all Australian major cities to India. Then you have Air India flights are going from Sydney and Melbourne. You have Etihad flights also directly going from Melbourne and Sydney. You have Sri Lankan Airlines going from Melbourne and Sydney. And you have Qantas definitely is also there. And they are flying Melbourne, Sydney, Darwin and Adelaide. And Japan Airlines going from Sydney. They have resumed back. I'll be discussing with you guys on Japan Airlines as well later on about what updates they got. But these are basically Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, Air India, Qantas, Sri Lankan and Japan Airlines are mainly flying from Australia to India at the moment from HT.
That is wonderful news. Well, right now, as we mentioned before, now that we've got the snapshot, let's go city by city. Let's begin with Brisbane first. So what's the update from Brisbane?
So Brisbane, guys, we have one-stop flights of Emirates and Qatar, which we always discuss with you. If you talk about the coming week, really availabilities are very, very low. You'll probably just find only business class of Emirates, which is costing on 6,500. If you go one-stop, Qatar is their business classes are 5,500, but in certain days you might get some business, some economy also available. Or we are connecting Brisbane people mainly with Sri Lankan Airlines or Etihad Airlines, or mainly Air India Qantas, which are going from Melbourne to Sydney. So basically, you guys have 3 to 4 flights a week at least. Though fares are expensive for coming week, I would say reconsider your travel if it's not urgent to go in next couple of weeks within December. If you guys go maybe January mid or after, or in fact if you go March, April, then you might get $1,500-$1,600 return fare as well. Though it's still for Brisbane, you guys can go directly with one stop or two stop, but coming back you guys have to come via Melbourne or Sydney. But there are plenty of options. To give you a bit of date, so Emirates is next flying on 10th of December, 11th and 12th, and Qatar got option on 10th, 11th, 14th and 17th December.
Okay, so there are some very good options there as well. So moving on, let's go to Sydney and get an update from flights from Sydney.
So Sydney, as I always say, you guys are lucky. You've got the maximum options and most direct options, and I would say some of the cheapest options as well at the moment. So you guys got around 7 flights over there. So you got Qatar, Emirates, and what all we discussed before. Let me just go through days wise as well for you guys, so you have a bit of idea. So Japan, you have on Thursdays and Saturdays. You have Sri Lankan flights on Thursday, Friday and Saturdays. Qantas non-stop 12 hours flight, you have Thursday, Fridays and Saturdays. Air India non-stop 12 hours, you have Fridays and Sundays. And Etihad flight also, you guys have Wednesday to Saturday. Now coming back to Qatar and Emirates, I would say still most reliable option for you guys to fly. Still from Sydney in this week, mostly only business class available in Qatar and Emirates. So you guys might consider going with Qantas if that's available. Otherwise, Sri Lankan Airlines or Etihad. So Emirates is basically flying from Sydney on Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays and Saturdays, which means 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. And then Qatar is flying on Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays and Saturdays, which means 9th, 10th and 12th as well. Let me see.
Okay, so we've got Sydney covered. Well, right now let's move down south. Let's go to Melbourne and see what the details are from there.
So Melbourne, you got around 6 flights flying from Melbourne to India as well. Qantas or Air India happily opened, and you guys might have more options. So flight-wise, it's more from Sydney, but fare-wise, maybe better fares from Melbourne at this stage, because Sydney was there for a long time. Melbourne, not many people knows at the moment. So Qantas is on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. Air India on Thursdays and Saturdays. Sri Lankan you have on Thursday and Saturday. Etihad you guys have from Wednesday to Saturday. But I would say still, if you guys are okay, then fly with Qatar and Emirates, because they got better changing policies and a lot more flights. So Emirates is available on Monday, Tuesday, Fridays and Saturdays, and Qatar flights you guys have on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Sundays.
Okay, so moving on from Melbourne, let's go to Adelaide, South Australia.
So Adelaide, you have one stop flight with Qatar, because that's the only one goes directly, or you guys can have Qantas flight as well with one stop, going via Melbourne. And there are some Emirates flight also with 2 stops. Generally, we connect via Melbourne. So if you're going connection, generally it's not a problem, but you can still double check with us or check with the airlines how they're going. But I generally recommend people to go with one stop option. We can still connect you guys with Sri Lankan or Etihad flights, or even Air India as well. But Air India doesn't make any connection with a domestic Australia flight, which means if you book your domestic one separately, then the fare will really become very expensive for you guys. So it's always good to have your domestic in line with your international flight, because that way it goes a little bit cheaper. Otherwise, sometimes your domestic fare may go from $300 to $600-$700 just one way, which can be a lot expensive for you guys. So If you guys go with Qatar, which is most preferred option for you, you have flights on Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays and Saturdays, which mean 9th, 10th and 11th. And then you have Emirates 2 stops flight as well on Thursday, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. Amazing.
But last but not the least, Perth. So what are the flight details from Perth?
So Perth, so you have two direct flights, Qatar and Emirates, which are doing really nice. Once again, not many options next couple of weeks because of the very high demand of Christmas and New Year. But if you guys are coming after, they are definitely good prices for you guys as well. So your Qatar flights from there flies on Monday and Sundays, and Emirates flights on Thursdays and Sundays. I can see a little bit less flights these days from Perth, but I think from January it's picking up. You guys will have at least 3-4 flights a week. And also, if you guys need to have Air India, Qantas, Japan Airlines or Sri Lankan or Etihad, we can make you connection from any of those airlines as well. The only thing difference is you guys need to probably wait a little bit longer because they have very limited flight domestically from Perth to other cities. Plus the fare can be a little bit expensive for you. So I would recommend you guys to maybe take Emirates, Qatar or wherever it's possible Qantas flight. Amazing.
Okay, so that's very good and very sound advice there. Now that we've got most of the our capital cities covered here, I think the question that everyone is asking is, what are any updates of India or India to Australia?
So from India, guys, flights a little bit less like it used to be. Like in a couple of weeks, Japan was not flying. Japan or their low cost airlines. But we have, Air India is doing quite well. So Air India and Qantas, their flights are pretty good. And you guys, the only thing is there are really very less availabilities coming for at least for next couple of weeks. So you guys might take Sri Lankan groups coming up like every week or in couple of weeks. Or you might check the Japan Airlines as well these days. So basically there are less options. What I would really recommend you guys to please think before you book. Book from really reliable sources, because last week also I heard from few people that they have booked somewhere and they were scammed, or even online they booked something which is not working. I would really recommend you guys to avoid multiple countries at this stage because you never know, if any particular country changes their transit rules, because not every country is actually allowing transit still, and there are so many changes happening as well. So I would really recommend you guys to, when you're flying from India, maybe take Emirates, Qatar, Air India, Qantas or Japan Airlines, and also some special flights or Sri Lankan or any other flights. If they are doing any charters or they're doing any group tours, definitely you can take, but no other commercial flight I can see reliable at this stage. Please do your good research before you book your flights India to Australia. If you guys can wait for a while, for a couple of weeks, I would say reconsider your travel, especially if you guys coming to Queensland. I would say please don't book flight until Queensland, because at this stage at least you have to do isolate yourself for 3 days in Sydney and Melbourne, because there is no direct international flight coming to Brisbane at the moment, because there are caps also there. So it's better you guys book till Melbourne or Sydney, or you book any flexible domestic flight at least 3 days after. Sometimes they don't calculate the day you're reaching, guys. Just remember that. It is very, very important that you know when they say 3 days isolation, what they mean. So they generally don't count the day you are reaching. Sometimes it may vary place to place as well, that what time you're reaching. If you're reaching in the morning, they calculate that day. If not, then you guys have to probably leave in evening. And when they release you after 3 days of isolation, also most of the time they release you after 2 o'clock. So if you guys booking any domestic flight beforehand, or maybe if you're reaching there, please keep all these times in mind as well, that your domestic from Melbourne or Sydney to Brisbane or any other city should be as per their guidelines. So that's very important. If you guys coming to Perth or Adelaide, I would say maybe wait for some time, because rules are really not that clear. We have seen there are some people who came they have to go to Perth, but they are in Sydney for some time. Some people facing difficulties with the G2G pass as well, without which they can't enter Western Australia. So please keep all these things in mind. People who are in needs to go to Perth, you have a bit of some Emirates business class options, but they are really that expensive. I was checking for someone cost was coming like $9,000 to $11,000, just one way, one flight for one person. The only benefit is you're reaching straight to Perth. You can do quarantine for 2 weeks over there, but it is very, very expensive. So I would say if it's not urgent, you guys can wait for a while. Maybe in 2 to 4 weeks, you guys might have better option. That's specifically those who are from South Australia and Western Australia, and also those from Queensland, maybe wait for a while. People for New South Wales and Victoria, you guys are lucky ones. Whatever options you guys get, you are all good to go. You can come to Victoria and New South Wales. And also for students and temporary visa holders, skilled visa holders who were paused for 2 weeks. As per the information so far, seems it might open from 15th of December, but I would say still until that happens, because according to signals, it's definitely going to open, but still I would say you guys maybe wait for a while. If in case you guys are thinking to book any flight between 15th to 30th of December, I would say book only flexible option at this stage, because you never know if any rule changes. And if you guys book any non-refundable and non-changeable option, it's really going to be very difficult for you, because one-day flights, still those who are close to the date, those flights are $2,000, $3,000. If you're taking a charter option, you might get a flight even for $1,500 as well one way. But book only reliable options, book only refundable and changeable options, which will cost you minimum $2,000. But it's better than getting nothing in return or not able to change. So students and skilled visa holders, I would request you to maybe wait for a while. For everyone else, we're expecting some more flights to come. Seems Japan and now gonna add some more flights, and from January onwards there are plenty of options, and $1,500 approximate the fare. If you guys can even delay a little bit more, come in March, April or after, I can see some $1,000 fares as well from HD.
Okay, so looking at all of those, it is very, very important to, be mindful of those times, because that could save you a lot of money, and not only money, a lot of hassles, and of course the trouble that you have to go through. But right now, the borders are opening. Of course, Bula Bula, Fiji is open, and things are happening internationally. So what are the updates from the international scene?
So guys, as discussed, I'll give you a bit of a snapshot internationally as well before I go into airlines wise. So yeah, Bula Bula Fiji is open, and I know many of you are excited, and so Macy is there excited too. So yes, Fiji is open. And is that New Zealand is still on pause for New Zealand citizens, going to start in January, and for Australian citizens hopefully going to start in April, might start before as well. Singapore is all open. There are still some restriction, and some VTL flights are there, so vaccinated travel lane flights are there, but you will find mostly those flights are from Sydney and Melbourne. There are less options from Brisbane still, because international borders are still closed here. So there are options open for some of the European countries, US and Canada as well. However, they are restricted, and while coming back, some countries, from some countries, you guys might still have to do a 14 days quarantine. So wherever you guys go internationally, please check their rules and regulations, because there is one state rule, you have a national rule, and the country you're going to, there may be a special rule for that country as well. So there is no one way, guys, you can have for all the countries. So please keep that in mind. But yeah, things are slowly opening, and it should be all good in next couple of weeks. Hopefully in this new year, we'll all will be free to fly anywhere around the world. But once again, we all have to do the right thing and get vaccinated if we have not done so far. Going ahead, let me tell you about Japan Airlines. So they will resume their inbound flights booking for returnees after the country Minister of Transport and Tourism announced last week that reversal of an initial travel blanket ban to prevent the spread of COVID-19 Omicron variant is lifting. So they are resuming their flight, which is great news. And also their low-cost carrier Air Nippon are now accepting new reservations following the criticism from majors against Omicron is gone so far. So it's pretty good that we'll have more options, especially from India with Japan. And now they have really worked it very well throughout the pandemic. I must salute them. It is really commendable job they have done. Next is from Cathay Pacific. So they will merge its Marco Polo Club and Asia Miles loyalty programs from July next year, with the carrier advising customers via email that their membership will be updated on one scheme to the 4 tiers. Those who are on Asia Miles member but not the Marco Polo member will be automatically become the Cathay Green member in July 2022. So if you guys are someone who really love frequent flyer points, I know many of you do, and in fact I know hundreds of them who were never bothered about the points before, but now really considering taking frequent flyers of every single airlines wherever they are flying. So it's really great. So categories are also divided in green, silver, gold and diamond, and with the entry green tier offering members to host services including priority check-ins, opportunity to redeem their experiences, more than 800 travel partners and exclusive travel deals and ticket deals, so many amazing things. So definitely recommend you guys to really take their frequent flyer point system as well, because it looks really quite exciting. Next is from Air Canada. They have announced a series of improvements for their customers to meet a new US government entry requirements. So part of the initiative is basically offering of Switch Health rapid antigen test, which can be delivered to Canada and taken from the comfort of your own home or accommodation. How cool is that? And what? Guess what? The test result comes exactly within 15 minutes of you guys have done it. So I think that's really amazing. We have seen few airlines have done that before as well, and it is introducing slowly. So I think it will may become a new trend that airline sends you all these kits and you guys do it at home. So it's really fantastic. Next is from British Airways. So they have basically so cancel basically thousands of flights till March due to a reduced demand of air travel. So more than 2,000 flights have been withdrawn from British Airways winter schedule because more than half are actually already reducing from next month. Decision was affected just because of the domestic routes like London to Belfast, as well as transcontinental flight from London to Cape Town, only because there is a less demand and some people are still scared. So I have not seen really many airlines have reduced their schedule recently, but definitely this update came from British Airways, which we thought we should share with you guys. Next is from Finnair. So they will launch Helsinki and Seattle route next year, with the airlines viewing its transatlantic expansion as critical to rebuilding really a global network. So from June, this route will be operated at least 3 times a week. And also Helsinki, Dallas will also launch from the northern summer season. So Finn Airlines said they are really happy to offer so many amazing connections between US and Europe, and hopefully very soon we'll be able to make connections. Though when we go from Australia and do the world tour, we would be able to add this Finn Air with a lot more different routes, which is going to be exciting. Next is from Air New Zealand. So they have taken its climate change agenda to a new level, which you probably, if you guys remember, we spoke to you about so many airlines before as well, that they are thinking of their emissions, that not net carbon, and net zero carbon emissions. So this time the time for the Air New Zealand. So they are basically mapping out a clear plan to achieve their goal of net zero carbon emission by 2050. So Alliance has outlined the actions it will take over next few decades to improve its core consciousness in 2021 sustainability report. So with the 4 main points: to reduce gross carbon to include zero emission aircraft, sustainable aviation fuel, operational efficiency and fleet renewal. So that's really quite exciting. Good to see that many airlines are participating in this one. Next is, guys, bit about the accommodation and what's happening in the world. So the entire Golden Triangle Elephant Camp and Resort in northern Thailand, they have introduced a new nature accommodation. You'll see the picture as well. That will allow guests to get even more closer to the local wildlife than it could ever done before. So now from your class, they have got a bubble kind of cabins. You sit there, you can watch the elephants and all the animals there around. So the resort had also unveiled new 2-bedroom jungle bubble lodges, which can house up to 4 people in a combination indoor and outdoor space, and also raise wooden deck and offering views of rescued elephants and so many amazing things they are doing at the night in the jungle. So the luxury viewing space also boasts a separate al fresco lounging and dining area, as well as they got some plunge pool as well. So I thought I just must share with you guys that whenever Thailand is all good to go, and I know so many Aussies really travel a lot to Thailand, so this is definitely amazing property. When you say, when you put the photo, I would say on social media, your friends are going to be crazy on this one because it really looks so cool. So must check out, guys, for sure. Next is from Malaysian Airlines. They have resumed 2 domestic routes and is planning to relaunch its subsidiary called Firefly. So Malaysian Airlines resumed those routes from Penang last Thursday to 2 secondary cities, which is Kota Kinabalu and Kuching. The BKI route will also operate 4 times a week, while KCH will be doing twice a week. So mind you that Malaysian Airlines is not going internationally at the moment. There might be some charters coming up, but I'm just talking about the domestic routes because that is also very important. We know many of our friends are there in domestic and they want to fly domestic, so this is for you guys. And also there is an update from Malaysian government. They have granted approval for the cruise operations to restart in Malaysia from 22nd of December under the strict safety and preventive measures that are in line with the international standards and local protocols. So Malaysia Penang chairman said, we believe the restart of the domestic travel and cruises operations in a safe manner will further boost the tourism sector as well as the other supporting sectors, and I'm sure it is definitely doing so, and really looking forward for the bright 2022 where we all can really fly happily like we used to do before, but definitely we have to go with more safety. Once again, guys, if you have not done your vaccination, please do so. It is very, very important for all of us. We have to reach 90%, 95%, or even 100% if we can, to make sure that everything is open. It's just not for yourself, for myself, for yourself. It is the benefit for everyone around. So please do so if you've not done that so far. Thank you.
And rightfully said there, Tanvi, that it is not just for yourself. It is for the entire community. And so, rather than being just selfish that I don't have to go anywhere or anything like that, so I'm not going to get vaccinated, that is not the right attitude. Think of a bigger picture, think of everyone, think of humanity at large. Do get that jab. And as you can see, that Queensland is opening up a little bit earlier, and that is only due to the numbers of that we have reached. A little bit shy of the target set, but still that is good. So Tanvi, right now, what are your expert tips for people?
Basically, I would say everyone, those who are flying from internationally to Australia, I would say please don't take the multiple country options because they seems can be really difficult, like I said in other part as well. Please book from reliable options only, because people and you guys are really in desperate situation. There are so many people, there are so many scams also happening. Remember, no airlines or the government never calls you and asks you for the credit card. So if you have not booked anything, if there is any dodgy thing you feel, just do it yourself online or do it or take the advice from the reliable sources. Please make sure that it is very, very important. Please share with your family and friends as well. So if once again our recommendation from Australia to India or India to Australia for COVID testing is 48 hours before international flight. And it is very, very important that you do it from ICMR approved lab from India, and if you're flying from Australia, you do it from the pathology specifically. I know many of you are still thinking that if you do it from the hospital or if you do the normal test, airline should consider and debating. Guys, debating is on one side. Please remember that it is a standard rule of all the airlines. And even though you go and fight with airline staff, you fight with everyone else, it's not going to make much difference. Generally, you have the cost is of $120 to $150 to get the vaccination, get your COVID test done. And in some places, I think there's some offers also going on which you can avail. But it has to be proper pathology report. There should be a passport number, your name, and it should say that it's negative. It is mandatory. So please keep that in mind. All the forms, please fill them before you leave home. Don't leave it to last minute. Still, every week I'm listening so many questions, so many people asking, and stressful. Please remember, it is for your own safety. It is for your own for yourself, so you are not stressed at the moment in last. So share with your friends as well once again, and fill it with laptop, not the phone. And these websites are so flooded. There's so many hundreds of thousands of people are there on the website. Sometimes it takes really long. I remember someone who was flying yesterday. He started filling the data with the form from morning 6 o'clock, and it took him actually 12 or 1 o'clock because it was just not going through. There were so many errors coming. So you can imagine if it can take 5 hours for him. Guess what? If you start 7 o'clock in the evening, your flight is 9 o'clock, airlines won't take you unless you fill that form. So it is very important, and they are giving you that window that you can start filling those forms from 24 to 70 hours before. Generally 20 hours before is a really good time that you start filling all those forms and sit peacefully and enjoy the last time before you fly, so you are not that exhausted. So once again, fill all those forms, do all the right things, carry some extra gloves and things if you can. It is for your own safety as well. I got all the checklists updated every week on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, which we can share with you guys. There is no charge for that. Doesn't matter, guys, you have booked with us or not. Once again, we are happy to help you. My team is there to help you. Sometimes it may take a bit longer, but we are there to help you. You don't have to really hear the stories from everywhere, because it may change. Like the story or the pathway your friend has gone through 4 or 5 days back or month back, it may be different for you to fly now. So remember that. And you always need expert to advise you. These days, it's not a simple travel that you just go online or whatever is available, just book and go. These days, situations are very different. Rules are changing, and even for airlines, you just can't book the same thing. We need to check that, but it's definitely happening. So please keep all that in mind. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to send us. We're happy to update this episode, or we are happy to add more questions. You can share this link as well with your family and friends. Please do so, and tag me and Umeshji, so we also know that you guys have shared, or if your friends have any questions, we can answer over there if you were tagged or shared from the same link. And also you can copy the link and send your friends on WhatsApp, make your stories wherever you can. Yeah, once again, thank you so much for all the help and all the appreciation. And please like our page, Oz India Travel, and on Australian Indian Radio. Give us any feedback you guys may have. And also you can find all the 59 episodes in all our social media channels on Australian Indian Radio, Chantex Media, Brisbane Indian Times. Really, Umeshji and team is doing fantastic job. You guys must shout out some more likes to them, so the more people know, because it's not easy, guys. I mean, sitting here, you might think that we are in a studio and things. It's not easy to gather all the information. It's not easy to really present all the news that Australian Indian Radio is doing every now and then. You can see the page. It's not easy. So really big appreciation to Australian Indian Radio, Umeshji and team for doing fantastic job. Please give them a thumbs up, share all the videos, and share the love. And I hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas and New Year. And I'm sure you guys are already doing so. Wish you all a very best. Thank you, Umeshji.
And thank you very much, Tanvi, for all your efforts. As you mentioned, it's not easy gathering all the information together and presenting the show. There's so much that goes on behind the scene, gathering all the information, making sure the information is current and relevant, so you can't just use last week or some other information. We have to source, and you doing the same as well, sourcing out the information so that it's then presented. The presentation might be for this long, but the preparation that goes on at the back. So the preparation is the key. It is the key to any successful, presentation. So there's a lot that goes on in the background, and this is information there for the community. So it is not, just for one person. So it's for benefiting the whole community. Please do, as Tanvi has mentioned before, if you haven't got the jab yet, go get the jab, and let's all do the right thing for the community. Of course, holiday seasons. Of course, course, we know in Queensland, this sort of season also means hurricane season, storms and other things. Be careful, plan everything accordingly, have a good time with your families, but always do so responsibly so that, you are safe, others around you are safe as well. Once again, thank you so much, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, Umesh ji. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.